In this video, we will ask you to interpret functions and function notation in the context of a problem and to use those interpretations to reason and solve other problems. To get started, let's review some things that we have already learned. Consider this graph from Module 3 Investigation 2, and let's let y equal f of x. For the input quantity of 200, f of 200, the output, will equal 180. We can represent this output value by the length of a line segment. Also, we can represent the value of f of 80 with a line segment that is 140 units long. Finally, we can represent the difference, f of 200 minus f of 80, using a line segment that is the difference between their lengths. We have drawn line segments to reason in this way in the past, but now we want to connect that understanding to our use of function notation. In question 3 of Module 3 Investigation 2, we have already defined a function f to determine the number of gallons left in Pat's tank as he drove across Kansas in terms of the number of miles driven since the gas gauge broke. The function was defined as f of x equals 15 minus the quantity x over 42. We practiced interpreting parts of this function definition as well as various uses of function notation in context. For example, we said that f of 100 represents the number of gallons left in the tank after Pat had driven 100 miles since the gas gauge broke. Also, the x over 42 part of the problem represented the number of gallons used when Pat had driven x miles since the gas gauge broke. And 15 minus the quantity x over 42 represented the number of gallons left in Pat's tank after he had driven x miles since the gas gauge broke. In question 1 of Module 3 Investigation 3, now you are presented with a new context. You will need to draw on your understanding of the concepts we just reviewed in the 2 previous slides in order to formulate answers to all parts of question 1. Be sure to represent output quantities using line segments on the graph, to describe the meaning of function notation in context when you are asked, and to explain your reasoning when you are asked. Also, question 4 of Module 3 Investigation 3 provides you with more opportunities to interpret function notation in the context of a problem. An important feature of this problem is that you can determine both in-context descriptions and numerical answers for the function notation in this problem. For example, f of 4 represents the price of a new Toyota Camry in 2004, and the table tells us that f of 4 equals 19,875. Be sure to provide both a numerical answer and a description of the meaning in words for all parts of this problem. Developing your skill at interpreting and making sense of function notation will serve you well as you progress in your mathematics learning. Submit your answers to all parts of questions 1 and 4 in Module 3 Investigation 3 using your instructor's preferred method by the time and date that your instructor has identified.